We are live. Cueing a theme song.
Yeah, we sounded real. Oh yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. You got a question for RLM? It's time to get some answers, baby.
Oh, now we getting real. Uh-oh. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality Radio podcast radio. Hold on. Radio. I'm your host, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, fitness instructor, Reiki practitioner, but most importantly, a student, ongoing student, never ending. The class is never over. The assignments, the practice is never ending until I breathe my last human breath. Hold on a second. Getting all choked up. At the beginning of the show, happiness specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? Happiness, especially during times like now. What is the world on fire? There's wars all over the place. Well, I'm going to address all of that. And I had a conversation with my son yesterday, and I really want to share my perspective, because when I talk about happiness, let me just be very clear. I'm pointing to a personal energy, a personal vibration of contentment, a personal vibration of peace. It has nothing to do with what's happening. It has nothing to do with circumstances. It has nothing to do with what's out there. I'm talking about, how do I maintain, and is it possible to maintain and sustain energy of contentment regardless of what's happening outside? And the answer is yes, but it is a practice. Happiness is a practice skill. Contentment, vibrating an energy of contentment, is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practice skill. And let me share my definition of happiness. My definition: happiness is defined as the ability to vibrate an energy of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens, and regardless of what doesn't happen, and regardless of what's going on in the world. And it doesn't mean that my head's in the sand and I don't know what's going on, and I can't see the world. No, I'm very aware of what's going on. However, it's my responsibility. My perspective is my responsibility. It's my job. It's my duty to vibrate at an energy that is going to contribute to the planet. If I'm vibrating fear, if I'm vibrating worry, if I'm vibrating something's wrong, if I'm vibrating any of that, that's what I'm contributing to the planet. So my vibration, my personal vibration is the contribution. And when I say contribution, I'm going to share that with everyone. Not share it, but I'm going to point to you, my dear audience. What are you contributing? Anger, fear, annoyance, irritation, sadness, loneliness, or are you vibrating an energy of balance and peace and trust, and a knowing, and a deep knowing that everything is happening for a purpose, for a reason, regardless of what it feels like or looks like? Happiness is a practiced skill. And so when I say happiness, I'm talking about a state of mind, a state of mind, a knowing, a trusting, a belief that everything is in order. Question: can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people offend you? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you feel? Do you blame your circumstances for how you're feeling? So there's nothing wrong with accomplishments, titles, wealth, accolades, fame, trophies, awards, social media likes, or amassing millions of followers, making tons and tons and millions and billions and trillions of dollars. But it's time to tell the truth. And none of those mentioned, without exception, have anything to do with your personal energy of contentment. You know it, and I know it. Contentment doesn't come from achievements. Contentment comes from knowing, trusting, scratch that. Contentment comes from a practice and knowing the truth about this journey. And one of my favorite quotes from Abraham is, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. And it's about the journey. This life is about experiencing it all without preferences and without judgments and without expectations, without all of the programmed behaviors. And in fact, my latest book, it's called Program for Unhappiness, just happens to be an international bestseller and an Amazon bestseller. We all know there's a formula for that. However, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, it is on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract from happiness. And there's three different levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. I also list in that book 26 behaviors that will add to your happiness. And again, when I say happiness, I'm talking about a personal energy, a personal vibration of peace and contentment. Why is this light not on? Peace and contentment. So another question to you, when I asked you, can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people offend you? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you feel? Do you blame your circumstances for how you feel? If you answered yes to any of those, know that it's just because you're programmed. You're programmed to be affected and react to all external circumstances, to all external happenings, to all external fields. And the practice is, if you are sincere, if you prioritize, and if you are value this personal vibration of contentment, then you have work to do. And I'm going to switch that word, work. You have things to practice. So let me just get to today's topic. Oh, before I do that though, I always share one of my favorite studies. It's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. You can Google it. The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. And it was done by a hospice nurse. Her name is Bronnie Ware, spelled Bronnie Ware, Bronnie Ware. And she asked her patients that had days to live, weeks to live, months to live, what are your 5 biggest regrets? And the programming always, without fail, comes up with, or manages to come up with, regrets. And so these people with one foot in the grave kept repeating these same 5. And so I want to share them with you. Number 1, I wish I pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, sometimes we just outgrow people. It's just time. It's not just time. It is time to not be in someone's company, but there's no judgment about it. There's no blaming. There's no pointing a finger. There's no vilifying them. It's just time to be in another place where they're not there. It's sometimes we scratch that. I've outgrown so many people. Nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with me. It's just time to move on. Number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's where I come in. I've been studying, research this thing called happiness for over 45 years, and I do consider myself an expert on the topic. And so let me get to today's topic, which is preparation. Preparation is key. I mentioned earlier that it seems like the world is on fire. War, hate, back and forth, wishing other people to be eliminated from the planet. I mean, it is. If I allow my humanness, Rebecca, to point out and make a judgment, and not only a judgment but a conclusion as to what's happening in today's on Earth, most would say, I would say a high percentage would say, is not good. It looks like can feel like the whole world is on fire. I used to live in Oregon, and during the summer, without fail, there was always a fire. And that comes from a variety of things, but usually summertime there was a fire in Oregon, and there have been, thousands of trees just burnt. So it was a yearly prediction. It was a yearly happening that these fires would ignite, just like in California with the floods and the flooding. And did they have fires too? Yeah, they did have a fire. They just recently had a fire a few months ago. Anyway, I digress. So when I talk about preparation, I'm not talking about physically being prepared. I'm talking about mentally. What do you practice on a daily basis so that when life challenges hit, and they always do, myself included, in fact, I think the universe hits me with extra, just because of my title, happiness specialist. How prepared are you for life's challenges? And I'm not talking about, having a having a lunchbox with extra water in the garage and extra, and canned foods to eat. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about emotionally, mentally. How are you? Are you prepared for what the world would say the worst? And that includes people that are close to you, people that are family, including parents, children, death. I was at the gym this morning, and one of the gentlemen that works out every morning, we were chatting. He's actually one of my favorites. We have compatible energy. We don't talk a lot, but you can feel it. You either are compatible with somebody energetically or you're not. and there's no getting around it. So energetically we're really compatible, and there's no it's just cool. It is a cool friendship. And we don't have each other's phone numbers. We don't, go out for coffee. I don't go to his house. He doesn't come to my house. And then today he confided that his wife has been in the hospital for the last week. And it's not just something small. He said her legs were swelling up, and she's 10 years younger. She's young. She's 62 years old. He said her legs were swelling up, and then she was having heart palpitations. So they took her to the emergency a week ago, and she has not been able to snap out of it or come out of it, and to the point where they're thinking about putting her on life support. So he was sharing that with me this morning, and I said the only thing I could say is, well, if you need anything, call me. And we exchanged phone numbers. Actually, we exchanged phone numbers after we both rode the cardio machines. Anyway, we exchanged numbers, and I said, even if you need somebody to pick up food or you need somebody to talk to, I'm there. Now, it's been probably 6 months since we've worked out. We work out every day, usually, I would say 90%. And we check each other when the other one hasn't shown up or taken a break. And so this was our first conversation where he really not only opened up, but I felt a sense of needing someone to talk to. And my point is, he said that the hospital and her her going to the hospital, he said, what's really bothering is what's going on in my head, is my mental state, where it's just constant worry, it's constant fear, it's a constant not being at peace with uncertainty. And in fact, when I say preparation, I'm talking about how prepared are you, my dear audience? How prepared are you for a challenging challenge? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And either you practice, scratch that. When I practice in every single day, the number one practice now is the endless chatter, the endless, constant, incessant yakking and communicating. I witness it now. It's not even, it is very, very seldom paid attention to. And in fact, just yesterday I was talking to my best friend, and we both said the mind is never content, never has anything good to say. The mind is just in a state of turmoil and unrest, and it's the opposite of peace 24/7. It is constantly, I'm speaking for myself, it is constantly in a state of turmoil. It will constantly find out what's wrong with the moment. It will constantly, it never, ever, it has never given me any other perspective than a perspective of doom and gloom. And even when it comes up with a perspective of, oh, good job, or this is great, even that is suspect. Preparation is key. And along with preparation is a daily practice. And what do you practice? Number one, what can I control? What do I control? If I don't have any control over any situation, guess what? It's time just to strap on. It's time to walk around with armor, helmet of trust. That's it. Trust and a knowing that everything that is happening, I don't know why that does that. Okay, where was I? Okay, so the preparation and the practice is everything that happens is happening for a reason, is happening to serve me in some way. Everything that happens is happening for my betterment. And if it's happening for my betterment, it's happening for your betterment. There is nothing, there is nothing that is unfolding that shouldn't, I'm using that word, that shouldn't be happening, that shouldn't, including all of what the mind says and what the world says is turmoil. There is a purpose for all of that, for all of it. I let me go back to my conversation that I was having with my son yesterday, and I don't know why this is like this either. Hold on a second. Why is that like that? Hmm. One of these days I'll be in a studio. But it's not today. Solo layout. You know, I hope that this was still on. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking. And we were talking about community and working together, and you need a community to build, and you need a community to build something, and you need a community, you need a group. You know, one person doing it by themselves. That was the conversation with my son, and he mentioned Tom Brady, and he mentioned, look at this. See, I don't even know if this broadcast is working. I don't know why that's doing that. Okay, I'm just going to keep moving. I'm just going to keep talking. And he mentioned Tom Brady needing a team, and he mentioned Michael Jordan needing a team. As you can't win a Super Bowl without a team, or NBA championship, and that is absolutely true. But I came back with, are you talking about human accomplishments, or are you talking about personal transcending? Are you talking about a personal, a personal, personal meaning this, whatever this is, this, because I believe I'm consciousness having a human experience, or God having a human experience, or am I focused on my awareness, consciousness, and presence, which is the identity, which is the entity that I identify with most, not the human. And how is Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls going to uplift or change the vibration of the planet? How is Michael Jordan winning 6 NBA championships going to shift the vibration of the planet? I'm talking about not in the moment, I'm talking about in the long run. However, when an individual transcends, when an individual gets to another level, a higher level of consciousness and awareness, that does change the channel. That does shift. That shifts. It shifts the energy on the planet. It shifts that scratch the planet in the universe. And so my focus now at 69 years old, don't tell anybody, at 69 years old is how often can I shift? How often can I shift and maintain and transcend the mind and the ego and transcend and maintain contentment? How often can I practice that as often as possible? And that comes with practicing self-awareness. The other thing about this world in turmoil is another program behavior, which is not being at peace with uncertainty, is not being at peace with not knowing or having control. I'm telling you, the only thing, scratch that, one of the main things that helps me, I'm talking about, is trusting that even though I can't understand it, even though I don't get it, even though it is incomprehensible, I know that everything is unfolding in order. What can I control? I can control I can control the energy that I emit. I can control the vibration that I send out. And so when I say being prepared, I'm talking about mentally. Mentally, when I say mentally, I'm talking about mentally being in a state of awareness and preparation and trusting that whatever comes my way, whatever crosses my path, when I say I, this human, will be able to not only handle it, but transcend and know that there is a purpose to all of this. There is a purpose to everything that happens. And that's the end of today's show. Preparation. How prepared are you? If you're a worrier, the other thing about worrying, well, I think everyone knows that worrying offers absolutely no help, no assistance, no uplifting. Worrying doesn't aid. I'm gonna bring that back because there is a purpose that apparently God wants to experience the worrying too. That's just my perspective. Okay, well, that's all I have for today's show. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington, LinkedIn. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. My Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality, and my YouTube channel is coming along really well. I've got a lot of short YouTube clips, and I'm really happy with the progress and the new subscribers. And I have to thank MD for that. New subscribers on my channel. Like and subscribe. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. That was published in 2014. But my latest book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, was published last year, and it's on Amazon. And in this book, again, this book is not a book to make you feel good. This is not a feel-good book. This is a book that's going to push buttons. It is a book that is going to be triggering, but it is a book of truth. And that's one of the things, and scratch that. That's the only thing. That is the only thing that is my focus. What is the truth? What is the truth about this life? What is the truth about this experience? What is the truth? And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You're a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting yourself in every moment. Be your own best friend wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, and let go of the stories that say something's wrong with this moment. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. And your experience in every moment reflects on what you practice. Have a conscious week. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening.
You got a question for RLN? You got a question for RLN? Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience.
Reality.
Yeah, keep your ears open for this one, man. You got a question for RLN? Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Now we get time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm talking about.
Next week.